Good day, beautiful tribe. I hope you're all doing amazing on this October 28th, 2025 edition of Teatime, as we are about to step into the most intense window of time, friends. Likely the most intense month of 2025 thus far, shooting us forward towards this new level of awakening, accompanied by, of course, quite a bit of chaos, unfortunately. And I'll fill you in on all of that today, the intense incoming energies and how November is going to go down. No doubt, as the most actively intense month of 2025. We've seen this sudden drop in the value of silver and gold over the past few days, over the weekend, just as Spirit told us to watch for. So is now a good time to purchase precious metals? Is it all about to skyrocket once again? Or will it continue to go backwards? We'll talk about that, and also new disclosure, and now this fight, apparently, or allegedly, in the United States against the chem-trail conspiracy. Except our own government is now admitting, as they have been, and I've been telling you for a long time now, that it's not a conspiracy. And now, allegedly, they want to put a stop to it here in the United States. Could it all be true, friends? Could it all be true? Remember, wasn't it Florida that put that ban on it, and then it just didn't happen, and they're still getting it above their heads over there. Interesting things to talk about today. So many previous warnings for both Ireland and even Germany. And right now in Ireland, things have been taken to a whole nother level of chaos. The Irish are fed up, the true Irish people, as they very well should be. So what's going to come from that mess? We also have All Hallows Eve approaching, along with the dates brought up in my October forecast. That window, October 29th, 30th, and 31st. And it's right upon our doorstep. Starts tomorrow, friends. So is there any validity in the last days of October, and what could possibly happen? Well, we're going to discuss that, of course, because anything's possible. And is the United States about to attack Venezuela? There is so much happening, including this 6.5 earthquake right off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean, right where the U.S. fighter ships happen to be parked. Don't you find that to be a little interesting? So could this be caused by something else? Perhaps something deep beneath the sea? Is it Mother Earth, or is it the globalists? Folks are also really concerned about the SNAP benefits, as they should be, being cut off here in the United States, and a raid on grocery stores from hangry recipients that aren't receiving their recipients. So will this whole government shutdown be restored in time before the chaos breaks out in our cities? Is the United States heading towards civil war? Perhaps maybe we're already in it. If you go to Portland, Oregon, you'd think we were. Other places too, but this is just the one that came to mind. We also have Hurricane Melissa is already slamming and pounding Jamaica. This hurricane, if you notice, took a sudden random turn, and it just suddenly randomly turned. There's no random about it. A rare sudden turn, they say. And now it's expected to blow right into Cuba. And if we go back, somebody in the comments showed a link to one of my videos, and channeled predictions going back 2 years ago, where I saw what some people, viewers and subscribers believe is exactly what Hurricane Melissa is delivering right now. And we shall review that today. That's important, along with the other earthquakes that hit. Earthquake activity is about to spike, friends. And Turkey was hit, just as I predicted. And November is just days away, and we currently are bathing in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. The coming energy shift, the final energy shift of 2025 is going to come rolling in on November 5th, to be exact. November 5th. So how's that going to go this round? The last round, if you remember, was the end of July into August. Woo, baby, that was a doozy. Yeah, that was a doozy. And that was like the worst one for many folks out there. So could this be even worse, this one in November? Could be better, too. It depends on how we look at it. So we have lots to discuss today, and soon we head out of the month of October and step into the most interesting month of 2025 and the 11 vibration of 2025. I'm going to tell you about that today because it's extremely special and extremely significant. So get that tea kettle whistling, friends. This is episode number 189 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time, baby. Good day once again, beautiful souls, beautiful tribe. I hope you're having a great day, and welcome back to the Love Shack Studio and Tuesday's Tea Time. My name's Joseph Tittel, a.k.a. Spiritman JT, Spiritual Medium. I welcome you with open air hugs. Now, the month of October, can you believe it, friends, is coming to a close in just a few more days. And that veil that separates our realm from the spirit realm, it's thinning out once again, friends. This is a time when both the good spirits and, the not-so-good spirits begin to roam the earth for days leading up to the Day of the Dead celebration, November 2nd. An awesome celebration, that is. It's a wonderful time, friends, for us to connect with our ancestors and loved ones, including pets and spirit, while at the same time honoring our ancient divine path and the ancestors that literally guided us to the point of where we're at today, whether you recognize that or not. And also, we're getting ready to hype up for this weekend or this coming week of ghosts and goblins. We're already feeling the effects of both the pre-shadow Mercury retrograde, I know you're feeling it, along with these incoming sun flare activity that happened over the weekend, over the past week, what have you. And that's only just the beginning, friends. November, it's going to bring us to this point of solar maximum for the year, according to my spirit guides anyway. Basically, at the same time, letting us all know that we are about to be pounded by massive energies, massive shifts in the coming month. Both exciting and maybe a little creepy for some folks, but it's really exciting overall. Now, over the weekend, you surely have been feeling these energies. I have no doubt you have. I know I have. And I certainly been feeling them pretty intensely, perhaps even the sudden heaviness of the energies. Have you noticed that? As heavy as things may suddenly start to feel to you. And at the same time, it's an amazing week as these energies begin to once again assist us in the process of ascension. And it's going to open all these many different portals across the globe. They're already opening. And again, like the good spirits and the bad spirits, it's both good portals and perhaps just a few portals that aren't so good. Not so good. And perhaps you may even have noticed that we had some strange timeline shifts in the past weeks. Have you noticed that? Like, we shifted timelines some way, somehow, or at least over the past month or two. You know, the Mandela effect. Yeah, that's on once again, friends. And I'm actually going to do a video on it for next week because it's really we did have a recent timeline shift. And I'll talk about that in my Mandela video that I do probably sometime next week. I'll work on it this weekend. It's quite obvious that something's shifted over the past month. And with All Hallows Eve and the Day of the Dead celebrations approaching, what a wonderful time, friends, for these flashes of light and to come, incoming flashings of light to come and lift up our vibrations. That's what a lot of the solar flare activity does. I noticed for some people too, including myself, it may have brought on some headaches over the weekend. And I don't usually get headaches. I think some of it's still the sinus thing, this cold that I had for 2 weeks. It's pretty much almost gone, but it's like my whole side of my face hurts in the morning. It's very weird. Never had that before. And you almost think it's your tooth, but your mouth is fine. And it's got to be related to the sinuses. Craziness. And yeah, I'm still doing the oregano oil. Good stuff, that is. Good stuff. I take it internally, and I put it in hot water and steam it. Now, not only this, again, these flashes of light are coming in. They're going to lift up our vibrations and increase our intuitive abilities, not to mention our memory of our dreams. I had some wild dreams last night. Some of my dreams are just like crazy movies that make no sense at all, but really interesting. And I like to be entertained when I sleep, so I like when I remember my dreams. Or I get up in the middle of the night and I go back to bed and go right back to the same dream. That's always exciting. Something I hadn't been able to do since I was a kid, and this year, all of a sudden, I started to be able to do that again. So we have this increase in the memory, the recollection of our dreams. And I've read in the comments, people say, oh, I don't dream, you dream. You just don't remember. And, there's different things that can suppress that. Different substances. I would assume alcohol, cannabis, different medications, especially sleeping medications, put you too deep into a sleep where you're still dreaming, but you're not remembering your dreams. Other than that, you should still even be having this increase of dreams and memory of your dreams, and even receiving some rare prophetic dreams of coming Earth events. If you remember, I think it was last week, I did a video about a dream I had that felt very prophetic to me, very prophetic, about a coming earthquake hitting the coast of California. And the more I looked at that, the more I know it's the southern coast of California. Because if you watch that video, the kid that pulled me out off the rock, that I was falling off the rock into the ocean, pulled me up, and he had no shirt on. But the more I look back at that dream, it looked like he had his surfing pants on. So, warmer waters in the south. And, people in the comments of that video narrowed it down to the universities that are on the coast, because this was at a university where this happened in my dream. I felt that was very prophetic. So pay attention to your dreams, friends, because you may be having some really prophetic dreams coming up, or even just recently. And there's no coincidence in the timing of all these incoming energies. No coincidences at all. And it's only going to get more and more wild and interesting, to say the least. I'm looking forward to it. Not necessarily a retrograde, but everything in between. And there has been no better time, friends, than this coming week for us to actually much easier for us to make connections with our ancestors, deceased loved ones, and again, pets in the spirit realm. And it's not unusual for this time of the year, because we have the veil between our world and the spirit world that begins to thin out every year, beginning on September's equinox, which was the 22nd of September, reaching its thinnest point this week, from the periods of especially October 31st to November 2nd. And then by solstice in December, it's all restored. Except over the past decade at least, or maybe since 2012, when it's restored by solstice, it's still thin. It's almost like the veil is disappearing slowly but surely. So every time it thins out at this point, it doesn't completely restore itself, if that makes any sense at all. And that's just the vibe Spirit's been giving me about it, and just my observations over the past decade of people awakening and their intuition and such. It's all connected to that, or their ability to recognize deceased loved ones, really important, or even interdimensional beings as well. Now, except this year, this particular window is much more special because of the incoming energies and the flashes of light that are being put into place to make these connections even easier for us than ever, connecting with these spirits. But we also, of course, got to keep ourselves surrounded in this golden light. Remember that. I have a meditation on my YouTube. If I remember, I'll put it up above at some point and down below in the description. It's called Protecting Your Energy. This is the perfect time to start doing that meditation on a daily basis, friends. Do it on a daily basis. Once you get to master it, you can just close your eyes and do it within minutes. But it takes a while to master it, and you got to dedicate yourself to it. Protecting your energy. Because, the golden light helps us to avoid or even attract negative energies and negative entities that happen to be roaming the planet in large numbers over this next week. Not seen in centuries, I would imagine. But fear it not, friends. Fear it not. Remember, we're here to do the work. You have to do the work. If you're not doing the work, you're not going to, have results, or you're going to be heavily impacted by these energies in not a nice, comfortable way anyway. Another thing to do is light some white candles. Keep yourself grounded. Do some grounding meditations. My favorite, listen to the heartbeat of the drum. Drums and rattles also keep away bad energies. And make these intimate connections with your team of spirit ancestors, your spirit guides, your spirit allies. In the coming days and in the coming weeks, you'll be glad you did. It'll be worth the dedication this time. It won't take so much work because of these energies, which is nice, because some of us did a lot of work to get to the point. This won't take so much work, just a little bit of dedication. Now, think about this, the month of November, that's really exciting when we look at the numbers in numerology, because only once every 9 years, the month of November falls under the 11 vibration. We determine that really simply. If you're not familiar with numerology, we are in a 9-year, and we get the 9 universal year by adding, 20, 25 together. 5 plus 2 plus 2. Pretty simple. Then when it comes to determining what month vibration we're in, we add the year to the month. Simple. So we're still in October. So 9 plus 1 is a 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So we're in a 1 universal month in October. And next year's the 1 year. But when we step into November, the 9 plus the 1 plus the 1, 9/11, get it? The 9/11 cycle. Of course, 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. We always do break it down in numerology. You always add the two numbers till you come with a single-digit number. But when we get the 11 or the 22 or even the 33, we always look at that first because they are super powerful master numbers in numerology. So the number 11 is a powerful master number that carries with it this deep spiritual significance. It brings in psychic sensitivity and a connection to the higher realms of consciousness. The number 11 has often been called the messenger or the illuminator. The illuminated. Yeah, that's why the illuminated ones like to use that number all the time. They use the 22 as well. I mean, look, we had the JFK thing on 11/22. We had 9/11 on an 11 day, and the list goes on. If you go back in history, it's pretty crazy. So it does represent, or is often called the messenger or the illuminator, representing our intuition, enlightenment, and divine inspiration. The 11, friends, is literally the gateway between the physical and spiritual worlds. It symbolizes the awakening of our intuition and of our higher selves. The 11 does come with some challenges, of course, that we need to be aware of, especially means it's being accompanied by the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius beginning November 9th through the 28th of November. The 11 can and actually will bring with it this emotional sensitivity, which is crazy because Mercury retrograde does that too. It makes people very sensitive, especially to emotions or miscommunications. The 11 does the same thing. It's kind of interesting. We have both these going on in the month of November at the same time during a big energy shift, the last energy shift of the year. Crazy, friends. Pretty wild, actually. And it can have people really feeling a bit misunderstood. Maybe you might feel out of place or feel more different than usual. This is all about it. And also, besides the emotional sensitivity, it will also heighten anxiety. Anxiety mainly stemming from energetic overloads. So like I said, keep yourself grounded. Don't allow yourself to be overloaded. But overall, November is offering in this extremely rare opportunity and this call for humanity to awaken, to trust our intuition, and to step into our highest potential, both personally and universally. Now, the combination of the 9 year and the 11 month, and then we have it again, friends, 911. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. This is likely to bring about some type of global mourning of some sort, because that's what the 9 does, and even the 11 can do that. Kind of like if we look back on the event that happened September 11th, 2001. That was a global mourning, especially for the United States. I'm not saying that there's an event like that happening. There could be any type of an event that could occur that claims many, many lives and calls for this bringing together of humanity and the people and humanitarian efforts. So together, bringing everybody together in this new light. Like if you remember, especially in America, after that event, 2001, America happened to be an amazing place to be. People were much different. They were much more kinder. It was just amazing times, even though it took a tragedy to take that and bring that amazingness together. That's what November's offering for us. Combination of the both, bringing people together in a new light. So remember that. And remember also, I tell you all the time, the 11 is a master number, and big things always happen in accordance to history with the number 11. Again, September 11th, of course. But we had major hurricanes, major earthquakes happen on 11 days. A lot of them. Hurricane Katrina came in on an 11-day. Hurricane Sandy hit on an 11-day, and the list again goes on and on and on. So I always tell you, if there's a storm coming and it's going to touch land on the 11th or 29th of a month, because 29 is also an 11 day, because 9 plus 2 is an 11. Yeah, batten down the hatches, friends. Something big's coming. And it just so happens that the entire month ahead, in November, the entire month, is bathing us in that 11 vibration. Big time. So it's going to be really interesting. And as much as I want to bite my tongue right now on this one, we, of course, have to speak truth and honesty here. And it's extremely plausible and pretty likely that November would be a month where we would see a major event. Sort of, again, like what happened in New York City in 2001. But much, much different this time. Much, much different. And I'm sure what. This could even go back to my visions and predictions going back 3 years ago, where I saw simultaneous attacks happening in cities in the United States, in Paris, and other allied countries. And Spirit says that plan's still in stakes. I don't know when they plan on launching this. This is coming somewhere from the Middle East, with help with China. Maybe even help with Russia. But remember, I also said in the past that Russia would back out last minute. So that's a good thing. Maybe they'll all back out last minute. But yeah, so much different this time. November is a huge turning point for humanity, friends. The biggest turning point in the past decade, perhaps in all of our lifetimes. So friends, exciting times indeed. Let me take a moment here to welcome you back to the channel, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, again, my name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, Spiritual Medium. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you want to vibe with our awesome tribe, be sure to smash that subscribe, the bell and all, so that you get notifications. Also, down below in the description, you'll find all the links to my social media. I post a lot of shorts. I haven't, because I was away and all, and I haven't gotten back into the groove, but when I do, I post a lot of short videos of predictions on TikTok and on Instagram. So follow me down below. And if you ever get a private message on any of those platforms that appears to be me, I assure you it is not me. Your best contact with me, especially if you want to book a session or a reading, is my website, josephtittel.com, Tittel, or spearmanjt.com. Remember, you book it right yourself right on the website. It's the best way to do it. And that's the best way to keep in contact with us. Now, if you have a link or information to share, please don't email the office. Instead, just leave it down below in the comments. It's the best place to leave it. And that way other people get to say it too. Also, down below, you'll find the link to the free newsletter, which will be going out probably on Halloween, because it's Friday. I don't want to send it out on a Saturday, less people will read it on weekends for some reason. Because probably when they get back to work on their work computers, they delete all the stuff, because it's probably overload. So Friday, keep an eye out for that newsletter. When you sign up directly on the website or on the newsletter itself, either place you can do it. Open up the newsletter below, and you'll see a link in the top corner to sign up for the newsletter. Make sure when you do that you confirm your subscription, or otherwise, and always check your spam folder as well. And keep in mind that the November forecast and predictions will be out probably Thursday, so keep an eye out for that. And I just did a Black Mirror scrying. My Black Mirror's over here. Video that I put out yesterday. If you missed that, lots of interesting predictions, and we look very closely at 3-Eye Atlas. So be sure to check that out. And let us move on with episode 189 of Tuesday's Teatime. As I stated earlier, we are obviously closing in on Halloween and the Day of the Dead, and that window of time that I brought up in my October forecast, if you recall, and you saw the October forecast, I strongly got the dates, October 29th through the 31st. So the 29th, 30th, and 31st, those 3 days, I feel that they were really powerful and significant in some way or another, or many ways, actually, really. The 29th, of course, again, is an 11-day. Before we step into that 11th month, that's tomorrow, by the way, depending on where in the world you are and when you're watching this. Wednesday, here in America anyway. And we have, right now, Hurricane Melissa. And she is fierce, and she is whipping through Jamaica right now as a Category 5, I believe. First time they ever had a Category 5 in Jamaica, at least in our lifetimes. And they definitely need some prayers, because Melissa, she is going to leave behind a path of disaster. I see visions of mudslides, severe floods, and the worst hit in Jamaica probably ever in history. It's going to be rough for them. It's rough for them right now because it's happening, I believe, right now as I'm filming this and recording this at 12 noon here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona on Tuesday. Usually I record on Monday, but I just didn't have time, and I had Black Mirror prophecy yesterday. So tomorrow is even more important. As I always tell you, if a storm is going to touch down or land near you on the 11th day or the 11th or 29th, batten down the hatches, and it's going to be a disaster. And I believe Melissa, I could be wrong here, but I believe Melissa is heading towards Cuba during that 11 vibration. I believe it'll touch their land. If it touches land, it doesn't have to be right over you, but if it touches land on that 29 or 11 day, that's going to be a disaster. And I would not doubt at all, the feeling is that Melissa, they say that she's going to weaken. I wouldn't doubt that she strengthens back up in that in-between period between Jamaica and hitting Cuba before she slams into Cuba and leaves a path of disaster there too. And did y'all notice how Melissa supposedly, allegedly took this strange turn in direction? No coincidences there, friends. Someone in our tribe left a link and a reminder from a video I did, a channeling session I did 2 years ago. As most of you know by now, many of my predictions can sometimes take 2 to 4 years before they come into fruition. So check out this clip. This clip is from August 17th, 2023. Give a listen.
Or both there in Cuba. A massive storm system's coming in. Category 5 hurricane. 4 at the least. Feel like the storm's being steered directly towards Cuba. Spirit makes me feel that this huge storm heading towards the Caribbean Sea is meant to pass by Cuba, but coincidentally, it slams right into the coast. I feel it's been engineered to do that. It won't be the only one this year. There's many more engineered to come.
Now, isn't that a bit interesting, friends? That is very, very interesting, actually. And that was, again, from August 17th, 2023. So just over 2 years ago. And it sounds about right, don't you think? I mean, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I have no doubt that Cuba, and obviously now Jamaica at this point, are in for a heck of a cleanup after Melissa passes through. Both countries I warned earlier this year, too. And now we see why. They were warned. So prayers to the folks in the path of Melissa's wrath. Now, another country I warned was Turkey of an incoming earthquake. That wasn't that long ago. I'd say within the past month, maybe even in my October forecast, not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the notes. They just got hit yesterday with this powerful 6.1 that shook the region big time, leaving behind a pretty bit of a path of destruction. Then there was the 6.6 that rung out in the Banda Sea, right near Indonesia. Earlier this morning that happened. Tsunami alert, I think, but nothing happened with that, thankfully, for them. But tsunamis are coming, friends. November could be another really big, plausible time for that. That would make sense to humanitarian aid, and the 9 vibration, the 11, just all makes sense to the numbers. And even to the astrology and everything that's in the water signs right now. Now, there was also another 6.6 in the red. If you look at the USGS, the ones in red are the ones that are real big shakers. And that struck not far off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean, the Guadalupe region. That's just where all those boats happen to be sitting. Isn't that interesting? And here's a really strange one that hit. This one's really interesting because I just looked up in the news this morning and I saw this article in headlines right here in the United States of America. A rare 2.5 earthquake, which is a little baby actually, hits Maryland's ancient fault, exposing hidden risks along the East Coast. I'm not sure why they said hidden risks. I mean, we are all of us are very aware of the risks to both the East Coast and the West Coast of both, not just the United States, but North America and South America. All coastlines are vulnerable right now, no matter where you are, really, technically. Now, earthquake activity is going to be off the charts in coming weeks, friends, and I do mean off the charts. And I feel November is likely going to be the most significant month of 2025 when it comes to earthquake activity and movements in the Earth's crust. That includes volcanic eruptions and so forth. I'll go more into this when I get into my November forecast and predictions later this week. Now, here in the United States, or is the United States, should I say, about to attack Venezuela? Because like I just said earlier, just so happened that there was this 6.5 quake off the coast of Venezuela. Not off the coast, but close enough to the coast. And it's actually right where the U.S. fighter ships happen to be parked out at sea in the Caribbean. Coincidence, perhaps? Perhaps not. What do you think in the comments down below? I feel that there's actually plate movements that are happening slowly, very slowly beneath that region, beneath the Caribbean. The Caribbean was an area I warned about coming earthquake activity in the future. We also have to take into account, of course, the government's ability through technology to cause such events to occur, like earthquakes. So an attack on Venezuela is definitely coming. We all know it. It's not about the cartel. Even though I saw cartel wars, in past predictions going back probably about 4 years ago, it's all about the oil, friends. It always is. Oil and control and putting in a regime that better fits, their agendas, especially the United States. So perhaps, hypothetically speaking, the real attack that's going to be made on Venezuela is going to be made to look like a natural attack, using that special technology, causing major, major earthquakes to hit Venezuela. So we'll have to stay tuned and we'll have to keep an eye. But something's about to break off big in Venezuela in the coming weeks. And also, I'd say right around the full moon, too, the 5th. Yeah, the 5th of November. The 5th of November, the 9th of November both jump out at me. Now, the 5th is the full moon, and then the 9th is when we go direct into the Mercury retrograde. Interesting enough. Dates to keep an eye out for. And again, I'll go more into depth with this when I do my November forecast and predictions. I also read just breaking news that came into my email that Netanyahu, of course, is set to send more missiles into Gaza. I know some psychic that might have predicted that. I told you it wasn't going to last, friends. Especially with him in power. It's not going to last, that little peace thing. I mean, it didn't last. I mean, he was still bombing it even when they said they weren't bombing it. So things aren't going to settle down there yet. But when it comes to the Ukraine and Russia, I feel like something's going to break with that soon. Maybe even by Christmas. We may even see celebrations right around Christmas for the celebrations that it's coming to a close and coming to an end. We do go into that 1 year next year, so that could definitely potentially, remember we're in the 9 ending, so it definitely can end. Next year's new beginnings and new starts. So prayers to the world for peace, because we sure need it. We have just witnessed the sudden drop in the value of silver and gold. Probably all precious metals. I didn't look at all of them, but definitely silver and gold. Just as Spirit told us to keep an eye out for. Didn't know when, but I did say keep an eye out. That's when I was going to buy more. And I did. I admit, I just ordered a couple bars of silver. I'd like to buy gold, but remember what Spirit said. Overall, silver would be the better long-term investment. And this year, gold is up 55% and silver 63%. So if all your money was in silver, you would have made more money. Just saying. If you would have purchased it way back when I told you to, and then you sold it now, you'd make a whole ton of money. But don't let go of it. Don't let go of it. I think that, again, I'm not an expert, financial expert, entertainment purposes only here. But I still keep buying it, especially being it's under $50 because it's about to skyrocket again. Remember, Spirit told us that there'd be a shortage on it in the future. We haven't seen that shortage yet. That's when it really skyrockets. Now, something is also happening around cryptocurrencies in the month of November, which again, I'll tune more into when I do that forecast. But I feel something's coming around crypto that could be good, that could be big actually. Now, I do see, everything economics is going to be really crazy in the month of November. Really crazy. But it could be somewhat good crazy and could make a lot of millionaires. I do see big drops in stock markets, likely due to some big event that's coming. Cyber attack Spirit just told me. I hear in my ear right now. And I see another crypto making people go bankrupt, like that other one with the Sam Bankman-Fried, that whole thing that I predicted would happen. And it did. I see that happening again. I'm sorry, I do not know which crypto it is. Can't help you there, but I just feel like, some of them are going to drop soon. Probably more than one. Go completely to zero, taking all your money. So be aware of that. And I do feel that both XRP, Ripple, Bitcoin are going to also take a little dip soon. They have been taking a little dip. Not XRP so much, but I feel like a little dip. And that'd be another good time to jump in and buy some before another big rise is going to come to that as well. So November can be very profitable if you play your cards right, as they say. Now, I still strongly feel that silver and gold is going to continue to rise again. And I feel that we will... Oh, I don't know where that came from. Oh, excuse me. Agua. I got a bug in my throat. Woo! Excuse me. Sorry about that. I still strongly feel that silver and gold is going to continue to rise again. And I also feel that we're eventually going to see a time where money becomes backed with precious metals. Kind of like bricks, but I feel like bricks is going to change and fall apart in some way. I also hear the EU also will fall apart in some way. But I see money that's, or currency that's backed by precious metals, but I feel like there's something new. And I said this a few years back. Something new, a mineral, maybe a different new metal or something else that's going into backing currencies in the future. I'd say by the time we reach again 2032, but maybe within the coming year. Remember, next year's new beginnings and new starts. I remember Spirit also told us that there'd be several currencies that would fail, that they didn't try to inject new currencies, but they wouldn't all be successful. That's why I feel like BRICS was probably going to be one of them that isn't completely successful, or it changes in some way or another. And, remember, things in the past were always backed by gold and metals. That's God's currency. That's God's currency in the earth. There's enough to produce in the earth for all of us. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to hold in the light. And that's truly what I believe we will see in the future. There happens to be some new disclosure, and now this fight here in the United States against the so-called chemtrail conspiracy. Except our own government now, well, they did before, but they admitted recently that it's not a conspiracy anymore. And if you remember, I pointed this out to you all a long time, many years ago, many times over the years, showing you the clip from the former head of the CIA talking about it on C-SPAN. And he referred to it as stratospheric aerosol injection. That's what he called it, otherly known as chemtrails. Now, they allegedly want to put a stop to this right here in the United States, which could be a wonderful thing, but could it really be true? Here's a post from the president's social media, President Trump's social media, and what he said. Except, let me pull this up. Here's the post where he's talking about Lee Zeldin. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. I tasked my team at the EPA to complete everything we know about chem-trails and geoengineering. That's the other thing they call it too, of course, geoengineering. Stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAIs, as they call it. So that way when you say chemtrail or something like that, they make you look like you're a kook, right? Well, there's the post that the president put up. The link in that post doesn't work for whatever reason. Don't know. But now give a listen to Mr. Zeldin himself. This is a kick in the you-know-what to Bill Gates and his friends, for sure. So let's hope that they're being honest here, of course, because they were, chemtrailing here in Arizona over the past week. Were they doing it in your area? Give a listen to this guy.
Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities. The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA.
Boy, oh boy, friends, Gates is probably full of anger over those statements from Zeldin. Perhaps the government's waking up, maybe. Part of the government, anyway. Maybe not, maybe. Maybe they're waking up, the good ones, the good guys. There's good guys everywhere and bad guys everywhere. So maybe the good guys in our government are waking up to the globalist agenda and this continuous poisoning of our food, water, and the environment. We can only hold it in the light, friends. We can hold in the light that all of this nonsense spraying is stopped soon. Now, they weren't doing it in Peru when I went to Peru for 2 weeks. They weren't doing it back in 2018 when I went to Peru. So they don't do it everywhere. And I think our friends in UK said they're really getting slammed with it, like suddenly this year, like more than ever. So I guess it depends where you reside. What country are you in, and are they doing it in your country? We know they're doing it every city around here in the United States, but are they doing it in your country? Friends in Japan, are you seeing this in your skies? Curious. Now, we know that Florida did this whole ban on it, and that didn't do any good. Because I bet you our friends in Florida will tell us in the comments that they're still spraying there too. So, well, then the light is coming out. I told you the truth would prevail and the truth would come out. And it needs to stop. It's not just poisoning the environment, the food and the water, but it's making people sick. We just don't recognize it. They don't want you to know that part either. Because, they make money off you when you're sick. Just like they make money off of war and conflict. These things are about to come to a halt. And I really look forward to it. So many previous warnings for both Ireland and even our friends in Germany that I've made in the past. And now Ireland, over the past week or so, things have taken to a whole nother level of chaos. The Irish people are fed up, as they very well should be. And what's going to come from this mess? Well, a lot's going to come from this mess. It's all about standing up for your rights, of course. And standing up, and they're trying to rip apart our cultures, rip apart our traditions, and they being the globalists or the illuminated ones or whatever you want to call them. And even in Germany, I see this whole thing where it's like this rise of communism happening in Germany, which is a bit crazy. And that's only just going to spread throughout Europe. Europe is in bad shape when it comes to pushing the digital ID on everybody. Next will come the, what do they call it? The social credit score system. It's coming. You just go to the WEF's website and read it for yourself. So prayers to our friends in Ireland. I still see continued chaos occurring there. I see that even spreading out around Ireland. So I guess even into Scotland, that will eventually have problems with this. And it's all over the mainly illegal immigration, which is pretty wild. So, again, prayers to them. These are things that are going to continue through this year. The chaos, the awakening of people. When people awaken, sometimes they awaken with emotions that sort of go out of control. And in November, emotions will be off the charts, friends. So that's what I tell you. Keep grounded and go hide in a cave if you need to. I considered it myself. Now, folks are also really concerned, as they should be, about the SNAP benefits here in the United States of America being cut off completely due to the government shutdown. Now, originally when I talked about the government shutdown, I got the number 10, so I thought it was going to be 10 days. Someone said in the comments recently, what if it's 10 weeks? Well, that's possible that it could go till December. Mercury retrograde causes delays, miscommunications, people argue more, and that could actually cause this whole thing. If it doesn't get settled by the 9th of November and the government doesn't open back up, then it's not going to probably till December after we get out of that direct energy shift and retrograde. And now people are threatening to raid the grocery stores, the hungry and angry recipients that aren't receiving. There's videos all over the TikTok and all those other things of people saying what they're going to do. And my feeling is they're going to do it anyway, even if they get their money restored or get their benefits and their SNAP. And there's a lot of people that do depend on that. There's a lot of people that shouldn't be getting it to get it, too. You have to agree with me on that. I'm pulling up this picture. Let me find it. That I got from I forget where it came from. Food stamps by ethnicity. Afghan people, 45% of them are receiving SNAP benefits. 42% of Somalians are receiving those benefits. 34.8% of Iraqis are receiving those benefits. And 23.3% Haitians are receiving those benefits. Interesting. They did put them up in hotels and give them free credit cards and all kinds of stuff. So there needs to be a way of doing this without cutting off the people that really need it and rely on it, like many of our veterans. Then I saw somebody in a video freaking out because, I can't feed my 6 kids. Well, maybe you should have stopped at maybe 2 kids. 6 kids. Lordy. When is it our responsibility to take care of all your children? And I do know that some people need it. I get that. So save your comments. But there, again, is so many that are taking advantage of the system. And any system, not even just SNAP. People take advantage of Social Security. We've seen all the GMOs that were funded by the government that were just a bunch of baloney stuff. So these things need to be weeded out, but will they? And how many people are going to have to hurt in the process? That's the sad part about it. So I do see, if you go back to my video yesterday with the Black Mirror prophecy, I saw police, maybe even military or National Guard guarding grocery stores. I saw lines at grocery stores where it reminded me of COVID, where, they only let so many people in at a time. So there were lines. I don't know if this is in the United States. It would make sense that it is. Now, someone also said in the comments this morning, I think they were in Canada. Don't quote me on that. You can look at the comments from yesterday's video, that she had security all throughout the grocery store. Thought that was interesting. I'm pretty sure that was in Canada. I don't know what part of Canada. It's a big country. So it's going to happen. And chaos is unfortunately going to break out in our cities. And the United States is already in somewhat of a civil war, especially if you look at places like Portland, certain areas. And it's just only going to get worse, unfortunately, especially in the month of November. But with that comes a great awakening, friends. With that comes a great awakening. This is when people start to look at things differently. We're already in this conflict, the civil conflict. It's already happening on some level or another. Along with the, World War III is happening already on a different level. And that's where cyber attacks are going to come in big time in November. So we got to be prepared for that. We saw the Amazon outage that happened last week, which feels to me like that was a big cyber attack and a test to test out, their potential in the future. And that has something to do with the simultaneous attacks that I see on cities in the United States, Paris, Germany, and other allied countries, all happening the same day, within the same hours. And it would make sense that they would pull something like a cyber attack to take out power or something in a big city so that they can unleash their demons from below onto our streets. So it's holding the light that doesn't happen. It's inevitable eventually, but let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope it doesn't. And I think that's it for today. I got to keep this short. I'm way behind, actually. But I am going to pull up a few questions out of the chat, because there's a lot there, and I can't get to them all, and they just keep building up and building up. Hello from Phuket. Is that Phuket, Thailand? Phuket, Thailand. Do you see a tsunami coming to Thailand in the near future? Thank you for your work. Speaking of that, this is another thing that just came up this morning that I read. The Philippines? Yeah, Milan? No, that's Italy. Where was it? Somewhere in the Philippines, like major fire. And what I tell you about this energy that came in with the fires, and brush fires and wildfires were in that energy. And they had like hundreds and hundreds of homes burned down there in the Philippines. Thailand. Yeah, I have already warned Thailand of incoming tsunamis in the future. And that rift that happens below the Pacific that's going to send tsunamis to multiple places, including Japan, Thailand, part of the Philippines. When, I do not know. So the best thing to do is always be prepared and take those sirens, those tsunami warnings seriously. Does the 7-year of tribulation begin at the end of October? Thank you, with lots of love. I only said 7 years of tribulation because of the period that Spirit gave me back in 2016, telling me that 2025 to 2032 would be the most intense time for humanity on the planet Earth. 2025, of course, the 9-year. 2032 would be a 7-year, and that period would be a 7-year cycle. That's the only reason I deemed it the 7 years of tribulation. I did read something somewhere or heard somewhere about, because, going by the calendar, our calendar's not the real calendar, actually. It's really 13 months in the year. And that's why some people believe that it starts in October, which could make sense. What is the best way to describe what a soul looks like? That's a difficult one. Kind of like a ghost. If you ever saw a ghost or a ghost photo, it's an energy, it's a frequency, it's a vibration. It's the only way I can explain it. I have nothing more than that. It's a vibration and it can shift, That's why we can see orbs and spirits show up as orbs. It's all the same. Hello and best wishes from Australia. Will our banks fall or take our savings? I look forward to your posts every week. You are amazing. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie McCarroll. Will your banks fail? Well, I see failing banks all across the globe happening. And that's why I've been telling you for the longest time the best thing you can do. And again, entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial expert, but I am pretty intuitive for sure when it comes to things like this. And that's why I say physical things are the best way to go. That's why I actually bought more silver this morning, just because I don't want that cash sitting there long. Banks are going to close. They're going to condense, leading to just big banks. And I don't get that they're going to take your savings. I'm not worried about that. But if one of your banks closes, yeah, you can lose it. So you just got to make sure you're connected to the right banks. I don't feel like you have anything to worry about right now. But, of course, definitely get into things that are physical. Physical money, physical things. In the past few years, light codes have ramped up. Oh, yeah, they sure have. Is the dark inside of them why people are going nuts? That's a good one. They're called light codes, so there's no dark to it. And the codes are like computer programs. All that coding that you put into the computer to make it smarter or to awaken the computer to a different level of knowledge and wisdom. That's what light codes are. There's nothing dark about that. What we could relate it to is what the Hopi natives say. Someone said that in the comments too, claiming that I said that Three-Eye Atlas was the Blue Star Kachina. I never said that. You don't watch me. And they said I don't know nothing about Hopi prophecy. Apparently you don't watch my channel. And I have many videos on Hopi prophecy, including the Great Destroyer, as it is referred to by the Hopi people, which I believe is coming in 2029, and the Comet Apophis. But going back to the Hopi prophecy, Hopi talk about portals that open up, and portals opening up that are unleashing, dark entities and interdimensional beings that aren't for our highest good. Some are, but some aren't. A lot aren't. I would say it's more of that than anything. It's not the light codes. The light codes are there to ramp things up for us and those willing to absorb those light codes. Not everybody's receptive to that, especially as per their soul contracts. Like I tell you, some people are just not meant to awaken. It's just not going to happen. It's like, sending codes into a computer that's not accepting your code. It's just not working. Your keyboard's not working. Their keyboard isn't working. They're not receiving the codes. So people going nuts, I think, has a lot to do with different energies, probably related, again, to the Hopi prophecy and the portals that open, along with just the intense energies. A lot of the astrological alignments are intense for people. People can't handle their emotions. They don't know how to filter or channel their emotions in a positive way. And that's why it may appear to you or to others that people are nuts. They really are, some of them, I got to say. There's a lot of them out there, Can you tell me where you buy your XRP? I was looking into it and would like to buy some. Well, I use the app Coinbase. I think that's what it's called. Coinbase. Yes, Coinbase. There's other methods, other places, but also it's recommended by the experts if you listen to them. I listen to the ones that made millions because I like to listen to what they say. I haven't listened in a long time, though. You got to put it on a cold wallet in case something like Coinbase goes down or people's money disappear from there, too. I have to get mine into a cold wallet. I haven't done that, so thank you for that reminder. And I'm going to leave you with that for now because I got to get this uploaded and edited so that I get it out in time this evening. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. Please do click that thumbs up love button. It helps the channel grow. It helps put similar content like this onto your feed if you want more content like this. And don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter. Check all the links out and recommended videos down below in the description. And until the next time, friends, remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends.